the surviving kingpin of a gang that was branded the most prolific and sophisticated in Scotland for its dodgy dealings in drugs, guns and serious violence and dirty cash, was imprisoned for almost 10 years. Nicknamed the Don, James White was said to be rich enough to buy out Rolex, appeared for sentence at the High Court in Stirling by videolink from prison after being arrested in Brazil, where he had fled the country in a bid to escape justice. He was told by a judge that for nearly 10 years he had been a senior member of the organised crime group operating across 3 continents in Scotland and England, Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Portugal, France, Russia and the United Arab Emirates and Brazil, basically across half of the globe. Lord Colbeck, who imposed a jail term of 9 years and 10 months, said he would have liked to have jailed White for longer, but was constrained by laws of the system. He said White's offending was of the utmost seriousness, involving a massive degree of criminality seen by the courts in Scotland. He said the extent of your criminality was such that, had a higher headline sentence been open to me, I would have concluded that the appropriate headline sentence would in fact have been in excess of 15 years. The court heard White, 46, from Gartcosh, Lanarkshire, was the top member of a gang run by brothers James and Barry Gillespie. Police said in January that the Gillespies are believed to have been killed up to 4 years ago while on the run in South America. White rose to take control of the gang, which forged links with other underworld figures across the globe. He fled Scotland when associates were arrested during an Operation Escalade, Police Scotland's probe into the criminals group. Becoming one of the UK's most wanted men, he was initially caught using a false passport in Italy 2020. Police there mistakenly let him go and he escaped to South America. After a large-scale manhunt, he was found again several months later by armed police in a rented bolt hole in the Brazilian city of Fortaleza, using the name Vincent McCall of Suriname. White pleaded guilty in June to directing serious and organised crime from May 2013 to March this year, 2023. Scott Mackenzie, prosecuting, said the gang ran a criminal operation on an international scale. Mr. Mackenzie said James White is a senior member and has been described as being at the top table, directly below James and Barry Gillespie. His position of seniority is evident from the responsibility and authority that he holds. He was in regular direct communication with the Gillespie brothers and other high-ranking members. One of White's main roles was running the gang's drug operation, responsible for the distribution around Europe. Mr. Mackenzie said he spoke fluent Spanish, which assisted the crime group in dealing with associates. He often based himself in Spain for this purpose. He was linked to a 10 million cocaine seizure after a lorry was stopped by Border Force officials in Dover in November 2017. It had arrived from Alicante in Spain, bound for a fake company set up by the gang in Rochdale, Greater Manchester. Hidden spaces in the truck had been constructed to conceal 90 taped blocks of cocaine. It emerged 16 other shipments to Rochdale had been made over the previous 2 years. Mr. Mackenzie said following the seizure, White informed another group member that he was responsible for packaging the drugs and was worried that his DNA would be found. White later directed an associate to set up another fake business in Glasgow to help continue trafficking narcotics from abroad. White's grip on the gang's drug business had seen him turn on a former friend. The gangster targeted Robert Allen over an unpaid £90,000 cocaine debt in 2013. Allen had fled Scotland having been unable to sell the haul said to belong to the Gillespies. White helped track him down before other gang members held him captive and tortured him for days. He was eventually shot in the knees 3 times before being shoved down a hill in a rural part of East Kilbride, Lanarkshire. The hearing was also told White was aware of cars and premises being used to hide firearms and dirty cash. These included submachine guns, Glock pistols, an M75 fragmentation hand grenade, bullets, silencers, and 1.7 million of cash. Anti-surveillance gadgets were also found. White was further heavily involved in the widespread selling of encrypted devices for criminals to secretly communicate with each other. A company called Maximum Protection Communications had been set up by James Gillespie. The court heard White advertised NPC products at boxing events. This generated sales in the encrypted products for the benefit of the crime group. The court was told how the Gillespies reportedly had disappeared in 2019. White appeared to confirm in encrypted messages on EncroChat app, which cops gained access to, that they had vanished a year earlier. White elevated himself to the head of the organised crime group, and by that time a European arrest warrant had been issued for his capture, but it did not stop him directing operations while on the run abroad. He exchanged 33,000 encrypted text messages to 70 associates in just 2 months in 2020, issuing orders. This included, in April of that year, him arranging to petrol bomb a site in Portugal and later slash someone. He also discussed with his ex-wife that he would return if he made enough money and got a good deal. White said 10 million would be sufficient and doable this year. The court heard an associate told White, "You have that much money, you could probably buy Rolex out." It looked like White had been caught in January 2020 in Turin in Italy. He was with fellow gang member Christopher Hughes, who has since been jailed for the murder of a crime writer, Martin Koch, in the Netherlands. Both had fake passports, which had allowed them to evade arrest. Hughes was held, but Mr. Mackenzie told the court White used his false identification in the name of Sven Clave, a Latvian national. This was to persuade the authorities that he was that person, and he was allowed on his way. White went on to get hold of another false passport in the name of McCall and travelled to Brazil, paying 1,065 in cash to initially stay at a hotel before moving to Fortaleza. It was there police swooped in June 2020 before he was finally extradited back to Scotland last August. The court heard White had no record of income from any employment. Donald Findlay, KC defendant, said White was determined to put his past behind him and find for himself and his family some kind of future. He said, "He is an inherently cautious and educated man." A string of gang members have previously been jailed for a total of more than 100 years after being snared during the Escalade probe. White now faces Proceeds of Crime Act action to confiscate his ill-gotten gains and wealthiness, with a hearing set for November the 6th at the High Court in Edinburgh, and for the imposition of a serious crime prevention order, with a hearing set for October the 6th, also in Edinburgh. Please like this video, please comment, and I would love it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.